Now the next one is called putting out the fireworks. So now we've gone through the assessment part, and it is time for the intervention. So to me, an intervention is actually going in and saying, we've got to step into the middle of this situation. We've called the family together, and something needs to be done. Okay? I'm intervening in the process. Okay? But what if they don't want help? You know? Some people say, well, you got to let them hit bottom. Well, you know what? Addicts bounce. Okay? And after they bounce, someone lowers the bottom 5 meters so that when they come down, the bottom's lower and they bounce again. They just don't bounce as high. Okay? So please don't get caught up waiting for them to hit bottom. Okay? Some of them hit bottom and then stick and find out the bottom was quicksand and they get sucked up. You can't even find them anymore. It's otherwise known as disappearing into the drug part of the city, and no one's heard from them for 5 weeks. Right? They hit bottom and stuck. Right? And all of a sudden, they're in a major city 5 hours away in that drug neighborhood. And no one has a clue they've been there. Okay? Rod?
Dave, how do you stop them from hitting rock bottom?
You don't. Okay? It's up to prayer. You know, it's a God thing. You know, the intervention is intended to stop that. Okay? But as we looked at with the stages of change, one of the hardest things for intervention is if you're doing an intervention and the person's not ready to change and doesn't care about the consequences, you've played your cards. You don't have any cards left, right? And they may just say, okay, fine, I'll leave home then. You know, I don't need to live in Joburg, I'm going to Durban. You don't have to worry about me anymore if I'm such a big pain to all of you. Okay? Again, this is a spiritual thing. We try to solve it on the natural realm, and there's no answer. The key is we need to stop covering up the problem. We've decided an intervention is necessary, so we're going to expose the problem. We need their family to stop protecting them from consequences, right? Because the longer you're protected from consequences, the bigger the consequences get, or the more people are hurt. And the types of interventions are simple, crisis, or classic. Simple just means, very casually, the addict seems pretty cooperative. We just have a family meeting. Nobody's, it's not a big deal. Yep, they've been thinking about rehab anyway, and they're willing to go, and it doesn't have to be this big drama. Okay? Crisis intervention is, my son just overdosed. They got the defibrillators and brought him back to life. Hello, what do we do when he gets out of the hospital? That's a crisis. They were in a massive accident. What do we do? Okay? They just got arrested. What do we do? Do I bail them out? Do I let them stay in jail? Okay? A classic intervention is what we're going to go through. Okay? You had a question?
Stop protecting them from consequences. What if there's a particular family whose son or daughter is doing drugs and coming home, wrecking the joint, but you accept that person back because he's your son? What do? Do you lock the door and lock him out and make him sleep in the street? Is that protecting them from consequences?
Well, there's not only one answer, okay? So I don't come from, here's the one answer. What I come from is, here's the rule that has been always in existence in our house. We may not have put it in a poster and laminated it and hung it on the fridge. But the rule is we all show each other and each other's possessions love and respect. We seem to be in a rut here where you don't respect us, you don't respect our furnishings, you tear things up, you trash them, you don't care what you break, you don't care what you lose, And so the love and respect isn't here anymore. So here's the deal. Just from a boundary standpoint, let's talk about what we can agree to on love and respect. If you can meet those, then this is still your home. If you can't meet those, then there needs to be someplace else where you reside. Okay? We still love you. We're still your mom and dad. We're still whatever. But we can't have you tearing up the house. We've got young children in the house. I need to count on my car to go to work or I'll lose my job. And if I go out and my car is missing 3 days a week, my boss has already said, you need to buy another car. If you can't trust your son with your car, just go get another one. Okay? So here's the rules. It's just boundaries that have always been there. Up until now, we haven't had an issue with it because we've had mutual love and respect. You've always been careful with people's stuff, and you've never cussed at your mother the way I hear you now. You've treated your mom with respect.
How would you deal with a situation with a husband and wife?
Same situation. I've been saying kid and mom. Okay? It's based on love and respect. Okay? So the answer is exactly the same. If your wife is fearful, if she's fearful for the children, if you're not showing respect to her, if you're using the F word in front of your kids all of a sudden, all the time, you're bringing pornography into the house and playing it while the kids are doing their homework, you're drunk all the time and spilled bottles all over the floor, you're not showing respect for your family anymore. We need love and respect for this to be your home. Okay? So it's time for a classic intervention, and that's what we're going to walk through. Where do I start for this classic intervention? So you're talking with the spouse, you're talking with the loved one, and you're saying, okay, your pre-work, here's a couple of websites, here's a book, here's, some handouts. I want you to do all your homework you can on this addiction that is in your house. Okay? So that you understand the terminology that I use without even thinking twice. I want you to learn about the treatment options that are out there. So I'm going to give you websites for 4 or 5 rehabs. I'm going to give you websites that explain what hospitals do in detox. I'm going to give you Christian places versus secular places to look at. I'm going to give you 28-day programs versus 6 or 12-month programs. I'm going to give you programs that expect the person to work the whole time, more like a halfway house situation. I'm going to give you programs where they're not allowed to work the whole time. Okay? So you do your homework first. You just give them all these websites to go look at. If they don't have access to computer, come on into my office. We can go through this. You want to bring your brother, your sister, your whoever is involved, come in and we'll do that. That's the pre-work. Because where we're trying to get to is unity as a family. So when everybody's up to speed on the addiction and the treatment options, then we're going to hold a family meeting without the addict. Okay? The purpose of the family meeting without the addict is to get everyone's emotions out. I do not want to sit down at an intervention with the addict present and have anyone in the family yell at, blame, or wag a finger at the addict with things they've already told them 100 times before. That's not healthy. But I've never heard it before, so you can come to my office and yell at me and let me hear all those things. Okay, we want to get them all out, and I want you to feel that I heard you. Okay? So that's what the pre-meeting is all about. After we get all those emotions out, now probably at a second pre-meeting without the addict there, we are going to decide which of those treatment options makes sense to you and makes sense to me from the information that you've given me. Keep in mind, I've never met the addict, so I'm going just on your information. Okay? But I have to believe that you're telling me the truth. So which option do you feel is the option to go forward with? We need an action plan in place, ready to implement the day that we do the intervention. The intervention is not to alert someone that action is going to happen 2 weeks later. The intervention is to say, action happens today. Okay? And then as the counselor, you outline, does everybody feel safe in the home? Are your kids safe? Is your house safe? Is your car safe? Is your bank account safe? Are there protections we should put in place before this? Are there guns in the house? Even hunting guns? Are there big wicked-looking knives in the house? Right? Has your husband thrown cast iron pans at you? Okay? Would he not hesitate to hit me? Because I'm coming in as the interventionist, the big bad meanie. Okay? I'd rather not get hit over the head with the same frying pan that he hits you with. Okay? Okay. So the day's arrived. I want to have this thing structured, scripted, and pre-practiced at a pre-meeting with the family, with someone else being the bad guy, with someone else being the addict. I expect when I call upon the family members to share, they're going to be calm and specific, just like me. But they will be firm, and nothing is open to debate. They're to show love and respect to the addict, not judgment. They're to talk about the importance of relationships. If we work with a spouse, honey, our marriage is important to me. I'm not here to say this is going to be a divorce. I'm here to say I love you and I want to stay married to you. However, the effects of your addictive behavior on me has been that I've lost feelings of safety. I'm concerned for our children. Our son is growing up thinking that yelling and cussing and arguing between a husband and wife is what's normal in marriage. And I'm concerned that he would take that into his future relationships. And my desire is for our future relationship to be good and close and what it was before, for the sake of us and for the sake of our children. Okay? So it's that sort of conversation. It's not shaking the finger about anything else that's going on. Some positive outcomes, if it's working well and God's doing his job, the Holy Spirit, it's an anointed intervention, is that the addicted person listens, the addicted person accepts help, and this is really a turning point in this addict's life. These are the ones that make those TV shows, right? Because they're a success story. That it's an opportunity that the addict can seize that their suffering is going to be relieved. The suffering of the family is going to be relieved, and immediately they begin treatment, right? And part of the preparation was, oh, by the way, your suitcase packed. Oh, by the way, we've already applied. They're expecting you at 4 o'clock. Okay? You can ride with us or Rod. Okay? That's what I mean by pre-planned. Totally. Totally. We've already paid or put the deposit down. So the person agrees and they go off. Right? The downside is it's volatile. The person storms out. I can't believe you did this to me. You embarrassed me. How crazy. I told you, never do this. You have betrayed my trust. Our marriage is over. Forget it. We're done. Get out of my house. Okay? That's the negative side. Okay? So those things happen. Okay? But we're staying with the positive one. After treatment starts, the family members need some support or counsel. Right? Because they're still feeling, did they do everything right? Did I do everything wrong? And now you begin to counsel them on forgiveness and reconciliation. Well, I'm not going to forgive him until he's got 6 months clean and sober. Why? Because that's what everybody says I should do. Right? I can't trust him until he's got 6 months clean and sober. Okay, well, let's talk about that, because love is unconditional. And I heard you say you'd still love him, you don't want to divorce him. Yeah, I love him, but I don't trust him. I don't trust him as far as I could pick him up and throw him. Okay? Well, trust involves God touching his heart while he's away at that rehab. If your attitude is still this, how's God going to touch his heart? And your trust shouldn't be based on his behavior over time. It should be based on your belief that God will be faithful. Okay? So you continue to have family meetings to outline a new plan. And part of the new plan is let's write a contract based on those 7 aspects that we talked about in the beginning. Right? What are these things that we need to see involving work and emotions and spiritual life and all those things? Right? So that when they come out of their program, we've got a new family lifestyle that honors each other and honors God. And that's your contract. Page 72 and 73 in The Heart of an Addict really gets to the heart of this issue. And this is by a woman named Shauna Luzier. She says, I lay here and think to myself, what would make me happy? Peace, love, self-esteem, freedom, happiness itself. But how do I find it? Where do I look? People around me already think I'm happy, confident, free in my own way, and at peace with what is going on in my life. I'm not. My life is like a game of charades. One day I pretend I can be at peace, but inside I'm crying out for help. Where to turn, who to confide in. The next time I'm this vain, proud woman, but inside I'm ugly, dirty, and scorned. How to change? Am I really? Am I even liked? I mean, the true me, whoever that may be. These voices I hear, are they different Shaunas? Wanting a chance to come out? My different personalities? Is that a different version of me but me? A lot of questions, no answers anywhere. I'm lost inside myself, turning in all and every direction. Slowly I'm dying and running out of places to go. No help, no truth behind people's answers and doors they try to open. It's just me, lost among both worlds, yours and mine. A new day has occurred, for I found my way to the Lord. He has given me the light to finally want to change my life. I want to try something new. I'm on my way to Bethesda, which is a Christian rehab, to do the follow-through. Avoid the liars, false prophets, even the deceitful fights. God and I are as one. I feel wonderful to be his newfound daughter. God loves all of us. Just give him a chance. He'll change you too with the work of his almighty hands. Read, pray, read your Bible, and follow 1 Corinthians 15:33. God was and is the only one to set you free. Enough emotions in one poem? Okay, so pre and post. Okay, and that's what people will be dealing with when they're dealing with the loved one who has been involved in addiction and gets involved in intervention. The last 4 slides we really don't need to go over. I'm putting them up there, or putting them there, so you know this is now part of your continued ongoing work with the family. Where did we really hit this person in their stage of change with the intervention? Were they really ready for this, or did they just go along with it? Are they going to come back thinking they can still use part-time or not? Okay? So again, just part of your stuff. So hopefully this will help you understand that interventions can be scary things, but they still need to involve God. I wouldn't advise doing them alone. Okay? And you cannot have too many pre-meetings, except if every pre-meeting is people just trying to wag their fingers more and more. Okay? Once it's out, it doesn't have to be repeated.